Hi, this is Uriah from Productive Therapist, and this is an episode on my super productive week. So if the audio quality is a little bit different, it's because I'm out taking a walk, and I thought that I would record a quick episode and share something with you, pretty much unscripted. And I wanted to tell you about my super productive week last week, which was a little unusual because I just felt incredibly focused and productive and very pleased with pretty much the whole week, which honestly is a little bit unusual. And I did change a few things that I think made a pretty significant difference. So I wanted to tell you about that. So I realized after my vacation that my mornings were not really going the way that I wanted them to go. And in fact, I got back into this habit of waking up and spending probably 20 to 30 minutes just on my phone, checking the news and checking my email, looking at Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And it was just really not a useful time at all, and certainly not a good way to get started and feel good about the beginning of the day. So, and I know that that's pretty common. I'm sure that you've experienced that. You might be in that sort of cycle or habit right now. So I decided to completely change that and instead sort of took a few minutes to redesign and put together a new morning routine. And it's very simple, but basically, so for 5 days, Monday through Friday last week, I did exactly this, woke up, and the first thing I did actually is stayed in bed and I read for 20 to 30 minutes, sort of an inspirational kind of good book. And then I got up, went downstairs, made some tea for my wife and I. And then I immediately sat down with my iPad and I journaled for 20 to 30 minutes. And my intention was to possibly do some like content writing for the blog or those types of things. But I ended up actually just sort of free-form journaling and just whatever was coming to my mind. And it was actually kind of a nice thing. I've never been much of a journaler, but that sort of cleared my head and helped me focus on, how the night was, what I wanted the day to look like, those type of things. And then I would immediately go from that to actually in the journal, write down my top 3 priorities for the day. So essentially, my to-do list is always pretty long, right? I'm sure yours is too, but I realize there's only so many things that are actually high priority. And I try to identify 3 things that if I check those off my list, I would feel good about the day. So identify the top 3 priorities. All right. Then what I would do, and all this time I'm avoiding checking my email, avoiding checking social media, all the things that really can become such a time suck in the morning especially. So after identifying my top 3, I would go into my office and start on one of the top 3 while I was drinking my tea and work for about 30 to 60 minutes. And then during that time, I actually started drinking a new sort of productivity drink with my tea. It's called Magic Mind, and I'm not promoting this necessarily, but I don't know. I think it helped. I think it has been helping. So it's called Magic Mind, and it's a mixture of matcha and some adaptogens, nootropics, some honey. It's essentially an herbal supplement, and it's supposed to enhance your focus and your energy. And it tastes absolutely horrible. So I drank this every morning with my tea, and for some reason, it just seemed to give me a little bit of an extra edge. It's just got a little bit of matcha in there, which is a little additional energy, but I felt very focused and very clear. So for what it's worth, I think I'll try to keep drinking this. However, it really tastes absolutely horrible. But my tea tastes fantastic. So I would do that and then work for about 30 to 60 minutes on one of my top 3 priorities. And then after that, I would immediately put on my walking shoes, go out like I am right now, and walk for about 30 minutes just around the neighborhood. I usually listen to a podcast or an audiobook. Sometimes I'll just walk and think, and then sometimes I'll make phone calls. So I take a walk, come back, and make a green shake, and get back to working on my top 3 priorities. And then I usually, somewhere in there, I would check my messages, not my email, but my messaging system for productive therapists and GFC, my counseling practice, just to make sure there's no fires that need to be attended to. And then eventually check my email around between 9 and 10 or so. So I just wanted to share that with you. I don't know if there's parts of that you might be able to take and adapt and use for yourself, but I just loved last week. And I honestly can't say that about every week or every day for that matter. It just felt so fantastic. And I think the way that I set up each morning really made such a huge difference. So take that and apply some of it for your morning routine, for your weekly productivity, and I hope that helps. One other thing I wanted to mention was that last Monday, I think, and Tuesday were particularly busy days with lots of, trainings and video calls and phone calls and all kinds of different things, almost overwhelmingly booked. And so what I did, and I don't usually do this, but I actually put in my calendar time for naps and time for like midday walks and time for like making sure that I ate good food, especially lunch. So that seemed to help too, especially when I was kind of overbooked, to really dial that in and make sure I don't just, work for 7 hours or 9 hours without really taking care of myself. And that made me feel just able to tackle those days and feel good about them at the end. So there you go. That's my super productive week. I'm going to go finish my walk. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for listening.
Be better listening, you're not that interesting. Be better listening, you're not that interesting. I expected you to be better. It's not like you climbed Mount Everest, and even if you did, I would be more impressed if you talk less, if you talk less, if you talk less. It's not like you're running from the government, or did you just escape solitary confinement? Could you talk less? Could you talk less? Could you talk less? Have you noticed no one else is speaking? Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. You don't need to think about what to say next. I know you're anxious, but you might actually make some friends if you talk less, if you talk less, if you talk less. So put down your phone and look me in the eyes, 'cause chicks dig when you're inquisitive about their lives. If you talk less, you get more ass, you get more ass. Have you noticed no one else is speaking? Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. I expected you to be better. Now here's how you do it. Step one, stop thinking about yourself. Step two, focus on someone else. Step three, ask them a question like you care. Step four, try to care. Step one, stop thinking about yourself. Step two, focus on someone else. Step three, ask them a question like you care. Step four, try to care. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. Be better. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. Be better. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. Be better at listening, you're not that interesting. I expected you to be better.
That was definitely the one where I was the most awkward. So there's that, if that's what we're going for.